Yay Networks.
Hello.
Hello.
Happy whatever day.
Happy whatever day.
This is Emily.
And I'm Laura.
And this is
Cheers to that shit.
What a fun time. We just
had a laughing marathon.
I wish I could tell you guys what it was about, but I won't. But
my cheeks hurt. My abdomen hurts.
It was a good time.
It was a good little cardio workout.
Well, how's everything in life? I guess great.
All I can think of is our past conversation. Good. Yeah. Planning some vacations coming up and looking forward to that. So
do you want to tell everyone about your party for one that you had this weekend?
Oh my gosh. Of course you would ask me to tell that. Yeah. Well, it was a great weekend for me. That, you know what? That is what I did all weekend. Actually, I'm very proud of that weekend.
I know.
Because it's just me.
Yeah.
I'm just not afraid to, have a good time by myself. So the AV company had a job out in Phoenix going on. And so Ben drives truck equipment and everything. So Jackie had tracked out. They decided to go on this cross-country adventure. It has taken them 4 days to drive to get to Phoenix.
Yeah.
But Jackie's had a great time, whatever. So no one's home because they live at home with me. And Dom had another local conference, but he was gone for Saturday afternoon till like Monday morning. So Saturday, I woke up and I was like, well, I'm here all by myself. What am I going to do? And I just, was like, you know what? It's nice outside. I'm going to sit on the deck. I'm going to drink a beer. I'm going to listen to some music. Well, that turned into...
Boy, did that escalate quickly.
Woo! I had Alexa, volume 10. And just how many beers could Laura drink that night? And then I started videoing myself and singing music and sending it to my kids. And yeah, it was a good night. The next morning I had sent some to Anthony. I was like, hey, did you enjoy that sing-along concert last night sponsored by Miller Lite? And he was like, yeah, I got a good laugh out of that. I was like, oh gosh, you should be so proud. You should be so proud of your mom.
Your mama. Well, Ryan and I went to Florida. Oh my God, am I here? You guys, stop it. Yes, I know. I love it. I dyed it the dark brown.
No, I know.
So I was just telling everyone else in case they forgot that this is, yes, I know. God, you guys, I know. Thank you.
It looks healthier too.
It does. It feels better too. I was trying to go anyway, but no. So we went to Florida. It was really nice. Good little vacation without the beautiful children we have. We did
well, you need those.
Yes, you do. We did a catamaran thing through the mangroves, and they took us to this private beach. So we did some shelling, and we found some pretty cool shells.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
It was really nice.
Probably just nice to get into some warm weather.
Yeah. His work. It was set up by his work, and one day they had a party on the beach for all of us, and there was a DJ and a bar, and people were stopping, and they're like, what's going on? And they see it's a bunch of
you're like, yeah, we're important over here having our own private beach party.
Woo! No, it was a lot of fun. It was really a nice deep relaxing breath before we come back into the hectic week of work this week. So I was like, this is nice. Now I understand why people do honeymoons before their weddings.
Yeah.
Because it's
really
nice.
We talked about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to go to Florida myself. So
and then you're going to go back. We'll be back in May.
Oh, that's right.
We're doing a lot of Florida trips.
Yeah.
But
we're not talking about summer today.
We're not talking about summer. We're not talking about Florida. We're going to talk about spring.
Yep.
So I don't know. I know your favorite season is summer.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is fall. My least favorite season,
winter,
is spring.
Really?
I hate spring. I don't like winter. I think spring looks beautiful, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's just I guess it's just a transitional season.
Yeah.
And especially here, gosh, it's one day it's cold.
Yeah.
One day it's hot, or it's going to be hot. So you dress for that, but you're freezing all morning until,
it's going off of that, just it's dumb. I don't like it. I think it's beautiful. It's just dumb. But the unpredictable weather.
Yeah.
For prime example, the week before we left to Florida, it was hot.
Yeah.
Hot here. The morning we left, it fucking snowed.
It was sleeting.
We were delayed 50 minutes. We were already in the airplane.
Poor baby.
I know, because they had to defrost the plane. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Defrost.
That's how unpredictable.
Yeah.
So it really depends on where you are. But like, if you're, and we're going to kind of cover all realms of inside, outside weddings and give you some.
I think wherever you are in spring or from summer to fall or fall to winter, whenever you have that transition of the seasons, I would imagine there are challenges associated with whatever
I think the
type of
transition
wedding.
of going into spring is the worst one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it's cold, it's gray for the most part, and you're ready for warm sunny weather. At least I am.
Yeah. So one thing about like the unpredictable weather, we'll talk about that first, is they always say like April showers bring May flowers. And I know not every state and even every part of the world has spring like everyone else has spring.
Mm-hmm.
You go further south, the further south you get, doesn't really have spring. The more north you get, they don't have the intense spring.
Mm-hmm.
But in North Carolina, I'm telling y'all, Google springtime in North Carolina and the memes that you will see are spot on.
Yeah. I mean, what are we in? Third winter right now? Third winter.
Like, it's just crazy. So
while still in the middle of the pollinating.
Right. So it was sleeting with pollen everywhere.
Yeah.
So unpredictable weather, the rain, the storms that you get. There was one year I remember that it rained for like 7 days straight. Do you remember that? It was like quite a few years ago, but I just remember looking over at Ryan being like, if I don't see sunshine soon, I'm going to freak the fuck out.
Yeah. I get like that in the winter. I think I have that seasonal situation going on.
So
I just kind of get to a point where I'm like, if the sun doesn't come out and it doesn't get warm real fast, then I'm going to have a meltdown.
Yeah. So if you're planning a wedding outside during springtime, regardless of where you are, you need to kind of plan.
We just need to be aware
of like what's going on. And with unpredictable weather and with the allergies, pollen, what you're talking about, those are all things that you have to be aware of. Flowers are blooming. Everything looks beautiful. I'm sure your flower options are way better now that it's springtime.
Yeah.
But it's just...
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge.
Yeah. And there's nothing worse than adding more stress to an outdoor event with the weather than in the spring.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people freak out like, is it going to rain? Is it inclement, weather plans and tents, or move it inside? And, you already factored that in, and then you put it in a time of year that's unpredictable.
Yes.
And then it's a recipe for
certain parts of the country, it's tornado season.
Yeah.
So there's another.
If you don't get rained on, you're going to be blown away.
You're going to get swept up. So just make sure that you're aware, even if you're getting married indoors, they have an outdoor area with just allergies, pollen, anything like that. Be prepared. I was thinking of some cute, like, gift ideas. I know like little tissues are cute. That might be something fun to do. Just be thoughtful. We always talk about, being true to yourself when you're getting married, and you want to make sure that the personality of the couple comes through. But if you're getting married and like we've talked about like beach weddings and people having flip-flops, you have to think seasons too. So if you're getting married in the springtime, maybe have like for unpredictable weather, maybe have just some like dollar store umbrellas around, you never know, have some tissues, have something.
I've seen where on the backs of the chairs, like for all the women, like little pashminas. Yeah.
So you just never know. I think I've told this story before. Last year, Ryan and I went to, or was it last year or the year before? It doesn't matter. We went to a wedding at the end of May, and it like, the whole day was beautiful. It was nice. It was a super hot day. It was cool, sunny, and then get to be like 4:00. It starts getting really cloudy, and like halfway through the ceremony, it starts pouring rain.
Dropped out,
and we were like, great. I mean, the couple did so good. Like they finished it. It was great, and the reception was inside, but at the ceremony. So of course, I'm like, great. Like I wasn't prepared for this. So like the person next to me had an umbrella, and I was like, I'm just going to cuddle in. Thanks. Because Ryan was in the wedding. So
oh, wow. So you had to.
So I was sitting there by myself. I was like, great, this is a good time. But yeah, I think allergies also are a big component.
Well, and I think you need to think about for your, like we were talking about thinking about the guests as well, but I think that's something to really keep into consideration. Some people have really bad seasonal allergies, and maybe getting married outside isn't the best thing to do in the spring.
No, well, I even know like Ryan has really bad allergies, but I mean, even if we're inside, pollen gets in.
Oh yeah.
I went and sat down on our couches outside and stood up and there was pollen all down the back of my leg. And I was like, this is disgusting. I can't even be outside.
I don't even go outside until I know that's over. And then I have this like major weekend where we just like clean and wash everything off because I just feel dirty.
It's gross. Yeah. It gets in your teeth.
Yeah. It's
good times.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a break and we'll come back and we'll start bashing spring more. So stay tuned. Okay. And we're back. Here we are.
Hello.
Springtime.
A lovely time of year.
What a time to be alive.
It's pretty outside though.
It's pretty. Well, unless it's cloudy and rainy and gross.
Well, yeah, but it's nice to see things popping out on the trees and I don't have to look down my neighborhood street and see brown sticks. Now everything's getting full and the leaves are popping out. Yeah. So it is pretty.
Foliage.
So
another thing to be aware of if you're doing a spring wedding, this kind of goes if you're doing a spring destination wedding, is make sure that you're scheduling around spring breakers.
Yes.
Places not to go for a spring wedding would be Panama Beach.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Funny story. I think it was like COVID. It wasn't 2020. It had to be 2021. Maybe 2022. I can't remember. Anyway, I was just like, I'm done. I need warm weather. It had to be 2021 because I remember looking at flights to Florida to like Fort Lauderdale and they were like $40.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I have to get out of here. I need some warm sun, So long story, it was still like a lot of restrictions and stuff. But Dom and I decided to go to Fort Lauderdale for like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I remember that.
We get down there and I guess it was just over the weekend. So, I mean, by the time we were getting ready to leave, like the day before we were getting ready to leave, there was a lot of like the city of Fort Lauderdale, people like workers, street workers, Department of Transportation stuff, starting to put these like big fence things up and these like barricade things. Like, and I don't know if you've ever been to Fort Lauderdale, but you basically have the beach and then you have the highway, A1A.
Yeah.
And then which is a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
And then on the other side is like all the beach shops and the bars and the restaurants and whatever. Yep. So they're starting to put all these barricades up, but only to like where there was a crosswalk and then they would be open. And so I asked somebody, I was like, what's going on? What's happening? And they're like, oh, we're getting ready for spring break.
Spring break, baby.
And I was like, what? Why do you do all this? And they're like, because people literally are walking from these bars across the street to the beach, back and forth, drinking, and the barricades literally get people from walking out into traffic.
Yeah.
I was just like, so when is this starting? And they're like, oh, people will start arriving Monday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
thank
God we planned this little rendezvous before spring break in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. So Fort Lauderdale, Miami, even like places in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Can't go to Myrtle Beach.
Or even like Cancun and some of the popular destination spring break places.
Yeah. So if you're doing a destination wedding, some places that I look to see is like a lot of Bahama places, like down in the Bahamas, like those kind of resorts are good. Belize is good. I saw like St. Lucia, St. Bart's, like I think kind of more like expensive places because I think
college kids can't afford that.
Can't afford to go on those kinds of places. Are going to be your best bet. And again, you've just got to be weary. And like we were talking to someone before this, and they said that certain places have curfews around spring break time.
Yeah.
Like certain cities will have curfews. So of course, when you're getting married and you're an adult, you don't want to have a curfew of like 11:30 during your wedding. So
or even like alcohol sales curfews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that if you are planning on kind of going somewhere. I mean, obviously springtime, you want to go, a little bit more south if you're trying to take advantage of the weather, but maybe just keep going a little bit more south than you think.
Yeah.
Because that'll be good.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that happens in spring are when all the bugs rise up from hell and enter back into society.
I hadn't thought about that.
All the bugs.
All those critters we talked about, noise critters and
All those damn critters. The mosquitoes.
Yeah. Well, the squirrels are coming out to get their nuts that they buried all.
Frogs are back alive.
Oh.
Snakes.
Oh my God. We had a snake in our on our driveway the other day.
Goodbye. Yeah. So
we also had, I was just going to say, we also had because we have a pond, a little park down the street.
What?
We had these little ducklings that had made a nest in my next door neighbor's
Did they all die?
yard. No. When they hatched, they waddled all out following their mama and jumped in our pool in our backyard. And I had this mommy swimming with these little baby ducks following her around in my pool. So you never know. Yeah, you never know. Like all the little baby animals are.
Well, yeah, that's a cute
born.
part, but like.
No, but I mean, if you're planning a wedding, bugs, animals, critters, whatever.
The raccoons, trash pandas. You don't want those walking around. You've never heard that before?
I've never heard that before. Just excuse me for 1 minute.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is like the mosquito. Stop, I can't even look at you
We're
right now.
totally off topic.
But no, bugs are on topic. That is the thing. So bugs, just be weary of that. If you found this venue and you're like, oh my God, it's beautiful, we'll keep the doors open because it'll be the nice spring air. You might want to rethink that.
Yeah.
Because bugs are disgusting. And you're going to have, they're back. They're alive now. They've crawled back up from the depths of
everything's
hell.
Like breeding and hatching and so there's a lot of it.
What is that? Pubation? Pubate?
Pubation?
When the bugs, they pubate?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's gross. Bugs are disgusting. I get why they have to be here, but I still don't like it.
Yeah.
My legs have already been eaten up by mosquitoes.
Really?
Yes. I'm very attractive to them.
You have a sweet skin.
They love my skin. It's great. So yeah, just a couple of things. I found when I was looking at all this, I did find some really good resources, and I'm sure you would love if I shared those with you, but that's not the kind of podcast we are. But they did give a lot of lists of places to go, just going back to the going around spring breakers. They did give a lot of really good places in the country and then outside of the country for really anyone to go to
needing to avoid those kinds of
spring
things.
breakers.
And I think that's something that people probably don't give a lot of thought to when they're thinking about planning their wedding is like, oh, spring is so pretty. All the flowers are blooming. We'll get married outside at this garden venue or whatever. And so I think thinking about the season and what goes along with that, super important.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take one more break and then we'll be back and maybe we'll lighten it up a little bit. And we're back. The next thing for springtime, we talked about spring breakers, but this is, I think, seriously, maybe the most important thing to seriously consider is that while everyone is going on spring break, that means everybody is going on spring break. So wedding vendors who have small children that are in schools, they might be taking spring break. So and spring break happens, I know just in North Carolina, it's like a full, like college happens and then we have year-round school, then we have private school, then we have like public schools. Everyone's spring break, counties spring breaks are different.
Yeah. I would say most spring breaks happen like around Easter.
I would think,
either right before or right after. Yeah. College is usually a little bit before that.
I think college just happened.
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, Jackie just checked out, for her school and, we're planning to take a little vacay.
Yeah. So vendors are limited. I just combined it, the limited vendors. So if you are planning a spring wedding, you need to start booking people now, for next year, because of course, if you're getting married this year and you're already going through all this, you're like, yeah, no shit, I'm sitting in the middle of it. Yeah. Aware. But it is one of those things that I don't think, again, people don't think about, vendors are people too. They have families too.
Right.
And just like everyone else has spring vacations, so do their kids. Yeah. And a lot of vendors take that time because they're about to get into really,
I was going to say, it's about to be big wedding season. And even if they aren't planning a vacation or a getaway, and they have young kids, they just might be wanting to stay home with their kids and be local and do some things with their kids, knowing that every weekend for the next 4 months of their life is going to be servicing servicing weddings.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really good point. I actually hadn't thought of that. Thank you.
Yes. You know what? You're welcome. No, when I was looking, I honestly didn't think about that either. I saw the spring breakers, but it did, spring break, I think college, it didn't even register to me about like
family
spring
vacations.
breaks and not having that. So that's really important. And you may also need to think if they do want to spend time with their family and they're just staying here, they might do your wedding, but they might charge you more. So that's something to take into consideration as well. The further out you can plan a wedding, the better. We've said that hundreds of times, but it seriously, with certain things like this, you've got to think it through. And that applies not just to springtime, but like any holiday times. If you're getting married on a holiday weekend, you really need to book far
typically
in advance.
those are
those are going to be more expensive, but you need to book far in advance because those book up quick.
They do book up quick. Something about the the family vacation is that it's if you're going to be having a destination wedding as well. And we did talk about places where spring break might be, but that was I was sort of in the college mode, but you have to think about where family vacation might be because that might not be in a typical college spring break area.
Yeah.
Family vacations are like Disney and the beach or, parks or camping places, just anywhere where it might be a great place for a destination wedding could be a little bit of an issue.
You also just sparked something in my brain. A lot of, especially like photographers, wedding planners, a lot of them, and I'm sorry, I know I'm clearing my throat a lot. Springtime, yay. I have allergies. A lot of photographers and wedding planners, they will do your wedding, quote unquote, free of charge if you pay for their travel. So if you do want to have a destination wedding and they want to go on that trip, that could be a 2-for-1. If they have small kids, you pay for their travel, for their accommodation during the times you need them for their wedding, then they might give you a break or a deal. I've seen actually a lot of things like that on TikTok lately of like, hey, if you want to get married in one of these destinations, I'll do your wedding for free if you book my travel and accommodation while I'm there needed for your wedding.
Oh, that's cool. So they're already planning their vacation to be there.
Yes.
It's like, hey, while I'm in Disney with my kids or wherever.
Yeah, if you pay for my travel to get there.
And you want to get married
I'll do
during that time. Yeah.
For, quote unquote free.
Yeah.
So look for that too. If that's something that's fun. I've seen,
that's kind of a win-win in my opinion.
Yeah. So I saw that sparked me when you said that. I've seen a lot of that. This one photographer listed out a whole thing of locations, like a whole list of locations of, she's like, hey, if you want to get married in any of these, and she did limit it. I will say wedding photographers, because it's more than just being there. We've talked about that. It's more than that. But she was like, she limited it to like the first 3 people that reached out to her. But that, if you're a fun, spontaneous couple, look for something like that.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Thank you so much.
You're just full of those today.
I'm chock full of great ideas. The last thing, and you kind of touched on this, talking about the pashminas, is in springtime, and this goes for fall too, but since we're bashing spring right now, depending, again, this is all based upon where you are, but I would say mostly you're going to get pretty warm to hot days and then cold nights.
Yeah. So I just want to throw in my little, theory about the difference between spring and fall. I think in terms of what you're talking about, hot days and cold nights.
Yeah.
So in spring, it's cold in the morning.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
It takes a while to warm up. So you go outside. We've talked about this when you're getting dressed in the morning. You're like, oh, it's spring. I'm going to wear these cute little sandals. But no, it's 30 degrees outside and you end up being freezing all day because your feet never got warm. So it takes a while to get warmed up and then it cools off again. I think fall is better from the perspective of it's already hot.
Because it's been summer.
The air is already hot. Yeah. So by the time the air starts to cool down at night, you're like, oh, thank God. It's nice. It feels good. It's cooling down. So spring, I don't really, for me, that would be a no just because of that. So I know we say hot. I know you were saying hot days, but I don't think they're as hot as people think. I think it's colder than people think.
No, I agree with you. I think hot in the retrospect of we just came from 30-degree weather and now it's 70, 78. So it is warmer in the sense of your brain.
But don't think you're going to have this beautiful outdoor, hot, warm wedding. Because
again, if you live close to the equator and it's the same temperature all year round,
then there is no spring.
Then there is no spring there, and you are listening to this being like, y'all are dumb. Just come down here and get married. It's great. Oh. But no, I think
there's a big transition in the weather from the hot to the cold.
There is. So that was very scientific of you.
Really?
I think so.
I've thought about that for a very long time. Oh, gosh.
No, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that makes a good point because I got married in the fall and the day was hot.
Yeah.
It was hot and it got to be like nighttime and it was like 78, 80, not even 80. It was probably like 75. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect
beautiful night. Yeah.
But if it was 75 in the day and then cooled down even more at night like it does in the spring,
yeah,
you got to be prepared.
It's like you just get this little bit of window of warm weather. And I think people don't think that when they're planning a spring wedding. They think, oh, it's spring. It's going to be nice.
Because
the flowers are blooming.
The sky is blue.
It's
the
very,
grass is green. It like looks like it should be hot.
Right.
So again, I just want to touch on really quickly with everything that we've talked about, keeping your guests in mind. And I know we don't push that a lot because it is really about the couple and the couple should be top priority. But when you have these big transitions in weather, keep those guests in mind, keep people in mind about, comforting and what would be comfortable for them. If you want to get married outside in the springtime, having umbrellas, having little pashminas, having some heaters popped around. There are things that you can do that aren't going to break the budget.
Right. That are just going to make your guests comfortable and, comfortable from every standpoint.
Yeah, like putting tissues in the bathroom, eye drops in the bathroom. There are things that you can do because I think while spring looks beautiful, like we've said, a lot of people suffer from really bad seasonal allergies and the weather is so unpredictable. There's craziness happening all around. I mean, shit, if you live in certain parts of the country, you're going to get swept up by a fucking tornado. So, I mean, an umbrella is not going to help you there.
And the 10 feet of snow that just happened in the Northeast.
Yeah. So just keep in mind, again, we don't say it a lot, but just keep in mind, like your guests want to have a good time too. So just be thoughtful and aware of what they might be going through while you're having the most blessed day of your life. Yeah.
So, don't get married in the spring.
So in conclusion,
especially if I'm invited, I'll be at your summer wedding, but
at your summer wedding. I can't wait for you to get married in the summer. Oh, you wrote the date wrong. Oh God, this is so embarrassing. All your invitations are wrong. Okay, guys, make sure you follow us on Instagram. I was about to say Twitter. We do not have a Twitter.
We don't twit.
We don't.
We're not Twitters.
Oh my God. Instagram,
TikTok,
fuck, TikTok, YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple, all the good stuff.
Yeah. And watch us on YouTube.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.